Welcome to the SDG Media Zone at the 2023 ECOSOC Youth Forum, a three-day event where young people from around the world can engage with UN member states to talk about the big global issues and share their concerns for the future of the world. On this show, we're going to find out more about the forum from the perspective of three of the current cohort of SDG Youth Leaders, a group of exceptional young change makers recognized by the UN for the contributions they're making to a more sustainable world. Kativhu is an award-winning education activist from Zimbabwe and the UK and the founder of Empowered by V, a youth empowerment organization that aims to bridge the gap between academic ability and self-belief. Jamal is an American Paralympian and was a medalist at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. He's dedicated to helping others learn how to swim and cut the number of people who drown each year, particularly in low and middle income communities of color that are at the greatest risk of drowning. And Wang from China is the founder of Carbon Base, a climate tech startup which provides carbon accounting software to help institutions meet their net zero goals. And I'll start with you, Karen. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to New York. Welcome to the UN. Oh, tell me, what inspired you to start using your background to get involved in the climate action space, background in data science?
Thank you. It's such a great privilege to be here. And first time to UN. So coming from a statistic computer science background, realizing the really challenging issues of global warming. So thinking about what we can do, and there's apparently huge information gaps, like how we understand the climate issues itself, and to leverage the scientific find out we have. So that is really what inspired us to start the project we were doing, and then to bring up the data science to help the companies to measure the carbon footprint, and then now to utilize to understand the problem more precisely. That's a longer version of the background.
Right. So we're saying the main problem is that a lot of people don't really know exactly what the main issues are and how to track them.
Yeah, so I mean, you start from understanding the problem to be able to manage it better. So carbon footprint is a measurement about with the equivalent like global warming, and then we can use a standardized language to understand how serious this issue is, and then this is where we're tackling from.
Now, your focus is on the Asian market for companies based there. Do you think that companies and also institutions in Asia are taking the problem seriously enough?
Asian is more than half of the global population. So coming from China, it's where I think most of the vulnerable countries are located at. So that's part of the background of what we're focusing on. But also, like the background is not much has been done, so we need a lot of capacity building. And that also extended to what I'm currently doing at Imperial College London. Like we are trying to research on the climate finance to bring more especially private sector investment into the Asian sector. And then of course, like through the understanding of the issue with my startup is working on.
Let me turn to you now, Jamal. So you've started a foundation. As we said, you want more people to be able to swim. You want to cut the risk of drowning, and you started a foundation called the Swim Uphill Foundation. Nice pun. I like it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That last question that you asked Karen about whether or not she thought her government was doing enough for that issue. I don't think the world over, but especially our government in the United States is doing enough about the drowning endemic, which is really one of the last great endemics to be facing our country, and it's actually much larger of an issue around the world.
And tell me a bit more about the problem. I mean, I wasn't really aware of this, as you say, you call this a pandemic. Just how bad is the problem?
So bad so that it's one of the top 10 leading causes of death for all persons 25 and under. Top 1 leading cause of death for child mortality rates 5 and under. That's all around the world. And like most things, it's a product of miseducation, absence of education, absence of access, and we all know a lot of that comes down to poverty. So really at the root of this swim education thing, we kind of feel like we are also shifting our youth into brighter economic futures, namely just by allowing them the opportunity to live and grow.
Now, you are an elite swimmer, Tokyo Olympics, congratulations by the way.
Paralympics.
Paralympics, but
yes, sir.
Part of the Olympic movement. Let's
separate, together movements, but it's like if I had a twin brother and you called him Jamal.
Right.
I'm me.
You are indeed. What pushed you to become an elite swimmer?
I learned how to swim at a very young age. I was in Mommy and Me at 10 months old. My mom really never learned how to swim growing up in Compton, and so when she had me, it's like, this kid's gonna know how to swim. So I was a fish from little one. I swam up until I was 10, and that's when I was diagnosed with Charcot-Marie tooth disease, a rare neuropathy that pulled me out of the water for almost another 10 years, and I started to get back into it in my later high school. And pretty much for most of my life, I lived, in a proverbial disability closet. When people look at me, I don't fit the stigma of disability, right? That is limb amputation or blind or with a cane, just common tropes of disability. And so I felt ashamed. I hid it for a long time, and I was able to hide it. I was able to blend in, and it wasn't until after college and when I started working with my current swim program, my current coach, Wang, that I really had the courage to just kind of stand up and share my story. And it's been amazing how, really just kind of how like one person telling their truth will help someone else tell their truth, So it's been great. That's how I got involved with the Paralympic movement as an adult. First time I'd ever heard about it, and it was a way to continue my dream of swimming just by being me.
And do you feel like you've had an impact by talking to other people living with disabilities to, as you say, get out of that closet?
100%. A big reason why people hide is because they feel like they're going to be judged. So it's people inside and outside of the closet. And I think that is definitely something that I try to use, with my platform.
And V, your area is education. You want to help students achieve their potential. Do many students need that support?
Yes, absolutely. I think that empowerment, especially in the academic space, sometimes goes unnoticed. And I always tell teachers in different governments around the world that having a young person with a GPA of 4.0 or an A star is pointless if they don't feel like they can use that A star, if they don't feel like they can take up space in the academic spaces. So yes, absolutely it's needed.
And what kind of things are holding young people back from achieving their potential?
Yeah, sometimes it's their economic background, their race, sometimes it's the school they're in, it's under-resourced, teachers are underpaid. There's so many different issues that then end up in the hands of these young people, so that by the time that it comes to applying for universities or taking up space in the classrooms, they don't feel good enough, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard. And even if they're academically talented, for as long as they don't have that empowerment on not just how to get into school, but how to stay in school, then we have a huge problem. So yeah, I've seen it around the world in many different contexts.
And what kind of solutions are you looking at?
Yeah, I think that we need to start having more education financing. We need to start paying our teachers more. We need to start financing our schools more. We need to focus on the issues of girls and women and how we've got so many out of school currently. I think that there's a lot that can be done, and I think we have a very long way to go.
I mean, it's a big problem, isn't it? How did you stop getting overwhelmed by it and think I can actually make a difference here?
Yeah, it started when I got into the University of Oxford. I didn't expect to get into that space, and there were so few people that looked like me or sounded like me in that space, and I got so angry about it that I began posting videos online encouraging other young people from backgrounds like mine that they can come here and be their unapologetic selves. And as I got into that work, I'd get more and more messages from young girls and women around the world saying, I wish I could go to school, but actually I'm in child marriage right now, or there's not enough money in my country, or all these different issues. And I just got angrier and angrier, and I thought, I can't sit here feeling mad, let me start doing something about it. So that's how I got into it. Yeah. And
like Jamal, do you feel that just by acting you've managed to make a difference?
Yeah, I can see that. Like, even the small differences I'm able to make, I've gotten so many messages from young people saying, you've encouraged me to finally step into that space. They get into education, they learn these skills, they take it back to their communities, encourage other young people to go. And I think education, it's a big tool. It's like a superpower. The more you know, the more you can do. The more you learn, the more you know about your human rights, especially for girls and women. They now know what's right and wrong, what people can and can't do to them, how to report certain things. You now know how to help in issues like the climate crisis. You're learning more so you can contribute to the world in a different way. And I think it's a big injustice to exclude underserved young people from the education system, because there's a lot to gain. So I will keep on doing this work for as long as I possibly can.
And we're speaking today on the first day of the Youth Forum here at UN headquarters.
Yeah.
And a question for all of you, I'll start with you, V. What do you want to get out of this event?
I just hope to see young people get listened to and heard. I think that often people shy away from giving young people the platform because they're worried that we don't know what we want or we don't know how to solve some of these issues. Some of the biggest movements that we've seen in the world in climate, in education, are being led by young people. And I think it's high time that those in positions of power stop, zone in, listen and ask, how can we help? What resources can we give to you? Because trust me, we all know what we want and need. We just need the support to get there. So I hope that these next 3 days are a beautiful collaboration of listening, learning and supporting, and that people leave with tangible actions and tangible resources to make their movements come more to life.
And one of those big issues is the climate crisis, of course. Karen, what do you think you can achieve by being here during this week?
Yeah, I mean, as we pointed out, part of what we all do here is education. Be part of the educators also like to share what we walk through. So my hope being here is really similar like COP, back to Sharm el-Sheikh. I think all the conference is just a starting point, and the starting point of giving actual support to participants who are able to be here or not. And I think, like from my circle, actually not many people know about this conference. So I think like something really concrete is like giving the concrete examples, like what young people can actually do in not just climate change, but like giving the what we do. Like we hope more people can know more about the scientific knowledge back of climate science. And yeah, so seriously, it's I think it's a really good starting point to give concrete support, implementations, guidance to people live in different countries, regions, and know like it's not just, I mean, it is a disaster, but also climate also initiated so many different opportunities and things we can do, like creating new type of jobs for the next generations, and then like it's changing our education format as well. So really, I think that's what I'm hoping to look for.
Anything you're particularly looking forward to this week, Jamal?
I think, I just really love being surrounded by inspiring, bright people. Makes me feel at home, so I'm hoping to just get comfortable this week.
That's a good answer. Well, you got two right here already.
Absolutely.
Why is it important to have a forum for young people at the UN? Well, specifically a forum for the youth. Why do you think that's important?
You know, sometimes I joke that growing up, the only thing I knew about the UN came from an Austin Powers film when he was holding the world ransom. But on a more serious note, even coming from those film experiences in our school systems, I never learned a whole lot much more than that. So now, as an older, young person, adult, the vernacular with young people gets sticky to me sometimes. At first I thought young people meant kids, and then I realized it means, either way, it's...
To me, you're all young.
Hey,
you're all
Brian,
very young.
Exactly, it's also subjective. But no, it's a great opportunity, just a great opportunity to connect, a great opportunity just to show, that the torch is ready to be passed in the relay, and when you pass the torch to the next person in the relay, the race you ran doesn't get erased, right? Mm-hmm. It's just now continued. It's just someone else's turn, and we all need each other to keep it going. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
And V, you've come branded today. You've got this SDG wheel, 17
Yes.
Sustainable Development Goals, and behind us as well, we can see all 17 of them. Let's talk a bit about the SDGs. I'm just wondering, well, before you came, how much did you know about them? Did you know anything about them before you came, and what do they mean to you?
Yes, I knew a little bit about them, but I think spending these past 6 months at the UN has been amazing because my focus has always been SDG 4 and SDG 5, right? So now I'm getting to understand the rest of them and how they all work together, because you can't really have one without the other. You can't discuss education without discussing the climate crisis. Like, they all go hand in hand. So yeah, I'm just hoping to learn more, hoping to keep sharing them with other young people out there, because like Jamal said, sometimes institutions like these feel so far away and unreachable for young people. So I'm really looking forward to starting to close that gap, and I think the help of having the young leaders going out there and advocating for the SDGs, and like I said before, young people are already doing this work. We just need to be able to like come together and do this movement as one. So yeah, I'm excited, and I think the biggest thing I'd love to get out of these next 3 days is just for young people to know that you have a seat at the table, and for the UN to also understand that young people's opinions and values are so important. So I just hope to see that merge together, really.
Well, as you said, I was seeing if I could remember off by heart what 4 and 5 were. I'm guessing one of them is education.
Yes.
Without looking behind you, let me have a
Number
look.
4 is quality education, and number 5 is gender equality.
You all knew that, didn't you? Of course.
Yeah. So the two of those for me are huge: girls and women, and education, and seeing how we can start to get more into the schools.
Well, I'm sure by the end of the week we'll all know all the SDGs off by heart,
Yes.
and you will have all connected with more, as you say, Jamal, brilliant young people who are going to be here this week at the SDG Media Zone. Thank you very much for watching. The ECOSOC Youth Forum goes on until Friday, and we wish you all the best and have a great week.
Thank
Thank
you.